You guys know I love podcasting and listening to podcasts, and I'm guessing if you're listening to this that you love podcasts too. Have you ever considered podcasting yourself? It is a great way to reach your audience, grow your know, like and trust factor, and not need to show your face unless you want to. If it is something you've thought about but you don't know where to start, then head over to becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz, BAP quiz, to access a 2-minute quiz that will help you work out what type of podcast might suit you. That's becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz. You're listening to the Mindset and Action podcast, bringing you the map to grow and streamline your business in 2023. I'm your host, Donna Eade, your go-to gal for all things podcasting, planning and productivity. And I'll be bringing you all that plus mindset goodness from experts with knowledge to share. Let's make 2023 the year of success in your business. If plan A fails, remember you still have 25 letters left. Henry Guest. Today on the Mindset and Action podcast, we have Vanessa Buck with us. She is a vision board mentor who helps people to reconnect with their lives using vision, connection and action to create a life they love. I can't wait to jump into this conversation. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast. I am excited to have you here today. And as always, I'm excited to be bringing you a guest. So welcome to the show, Vanessa. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Really looking forward to this.
Oh dear. I just nearly choked on my own swallow then. I don't know what happened there. I was just running out of air as I finished that sentence.
I mean, all of a sudden, it's because I think we've all got nervous about this one because I think that's what's happened because we've had two failed times. We need to zone in.
We're zoning in, guys. We're zoning in. So yes, if you are not aware, but this is mine and Vanessa's third attempt at this episode. So we are really determined to bring it to you, but we have had a few technical issues on the way. So we are fingers crossed. And if you are listening to this, it means that we got success. Hurrah! So Vanessa, before we jump into the questions, I would love it if you would introduce yourself to the audience, let them know what it is that you do and how you ended up doing it.
Hello everyone. I am Vanessa and I am the creator of Vision Boards for All and I'm a vision board mentor. So I work with groups and one-to-one running face-to-face and online board workshops to help people visualize their dream life, which is the first step to turning dreams into reality. My own vision board changed my life. I am a mum of 2 now grown-up kids, and I run a beauty business for 25 years and also suffered illness, loss, and allowed my business to rule me rather than the other way round. So when we experience life-changing events over a long period of time, we often forget where we are heading and find ourselves lost and a bit off track. So what happened to me is when I created my vision board, it gave me a roadmap to what I wanted in my life. It helped me find clarity. It motivated me to take action and prioritize what was important and gave me that clear direction of where I was heading. We really underestimate how powerful vision boards are. And when we get that clear vision, we can make better decisions and recognize opportunities that present themselves rather than pass them by because we're so focused on just the doing. So when we get clear, actually life becomes simpler. And that's how my vision board changed my life and how now I obviously have created my own methodology and bring it to other people.
I love that. And I think it's really important before we dive in that we really explain a little bit of the background of what vision boards are, because I think a lot of people are under the impression that it's very, very woo, and that you just put these things on a vision board and then you manifest them into existence, and I've put it on the board, so it's going to happen. And then they do absolutely nothing with it. And 2 years later, they're going through sorting out a room and they come across this vision board and they're like, well, that didn't work, did it? And so explain a little bit of the science behind what vision boarding actually is and how it works.
Well, I have some stats for you. And I think when you hear these stats, you realize how powerful they can be. So 90% of information transmitted to the brain is visual, which is huge. You know, everything we see and do has a visual attached to it. And 40% of people respond better to visual information than text, which I'm definitely one of them. And visuals are processed 60 times faster than text. And if you think 95% of our thoughts are repeated and we believe our thoughts, this is why one of the reasons your vision board can really resonate with you. So what a vision board does is it creates that visual picture. And when we start to visualize our best life, that becomes that kind of mental rehearsal, which means we get familiar with the unfamiliar. So this in turn will start us to see possibilities and opportunities that, and then we don't become fearful of them as well. So your vision board has emotions attached to them, because everything we do has an emotion attached to it. And athletes have been using visualization for decades because the brain doesn't distinguish between the real and the imagined. And what visualization does, it can trigger the neurons in your brain to react as if we imagine what we are imagining really is happening. So if you think of athletes, they sit there and they visualize them scoring that goal. They visualize, finishing the race first. And this builds new neuro pathways, which the brain, when they then use when the event actually occurs. So I think they say athletes' actions are 20% physical and 80% visualization. So when we visualize our best life and what we want in our life, because we often concentrate on what we don't want rather than what we do. So when we start having that vision board that becomes your daily visual reminder to know what you want, how you want to feel, and where you want to go. So they help you to kind of reflect, they gain that clarity, they create focus, and they reconnect with you if you've lost your way. If you are stuck and you've really lost your way, it really gets you back out of your head and into your heart. They really help you to stay connected with your goals and dreams, because life is going to happen anyway, and we can easily get lost, can't we? And they remind you to take action, because often, if we're not taking action, we need to reflect why. What's holding us back? What's the stories we're telling ourselves? So vision boards can help you to see how far you've come as well, because we really forget what we do because that has become our normality. So when we look at your vision board, you think, oh my gosh, I've achieved that. I have achieved more joy in my life. I've achieved more balance. And it's about celebrating, the small moments and, the journey, because, life is a bit like a road, really. And, you need that clear vision and you need that roadmap. We don't jump in the car to go to Cornwall without knowing where we're going. And it's the same with our life. If we want more joy, we have to schedule it, because, 90% of what we do is we're on autopilot. So we have to learn to and become aware. And that's one of the things why your vision board kind of can help you.
I love that. I think it's really important that we kind of take a moment just to reflect on how we actually live our lives. I've been very much I've always loved Ramit Sethi. I've literally listened to him since he bought his book out originally. And he's now got a podcast which I listen to regularly, and it kind of really brings it home how many people in their finances are just ticking over and doing these things. And he says that he always asks people, okay, what does your rich life look like? And they go, oh, freedom. And he's like, freedom to do what? And they're like, oh, I want to buy a really fancy car. And he's like, what car? And they're like, oh, a Ferrari, a red one. And he's like, why? And they go, oh, because it looks cool. They've got actual no connection to it whatsoever. It's just what society has said is the epitome of wealth. And so that's what they think wealth is. And he's like trying to educate people into what their rich life might look like, and how, if you want to be able to go on extravagant holidays and stay in the best hotels and stuff, you might have to sacrifice something else. Like you can't have it all. So if you're not bothered about clothes, then, you know, you go to the cheaper clothes shops and you can have the extravagant holidays, but you can't have the extravagant holidays and the Balenciaga slides, you know?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Everything in life is about connection. And I think we really underestimate that. You know, I call it our three homes, you know. Your first home is your mind, body, and spirit, what you feed your mind, and with food, as well as you know, the TV we watch. If you're watching, you know, 7-8 hours of Jeremy Kyle, or The Only Way is Essex, you know, whatever it is, it's and our spirit, we all have our own essence. We will all cook a recipe and it will all taste slightly different because we bring our own essence to it. We will all read a book, and depending on where we are in our life, we'll all take something different from it, because, you know, we react with our emotions and our energy. And that is why it's so important to find your version of success, because it's your why, it's your purpose. We're all being put on this earth for a reason. And just showing up for work because it pays the bills, but it doesn't like ignite a spark within you, is such a shame, because it's finding and having that balance of life, in the sense of tuning into all those different areas, to really feel more rounded, so we kind of can feel, just feel that happier in our own skin, I think.
Absolutely. And I heard something that I have to share, because I didn't hear this previous to our other recording. I heard it this weekend, and it was from Oprah herself.
Yes.
And she was in an interview a few years back where she was asked if she still created vision boards. And she says, you know what, I don't, because I am a powerful manifester. And she talked about how when you put something on your vision board, it's no good desperately wanting that thing. You have to raise your vibration to where that thing is. And she goes, and that's what I now can do without the need for vision boards. But if you have one, it's not about putting things on it and then sitting there desperately longing for it. It's about raising your vibration to where it's already happened. And I thought that was so powerful. So I thought I would mention it here. But okay, so we're like convinced now that, you know, having a vision, and this isn't like woo-woo vision, this is having a path, having a plan, having a purpose, knowing where you're going, is going to help you to get there. And if you don't sort of sit down and make that plan and say, okay, where do I want to be in 5 years' time? You know, where do I want to be at the end of my working career? What does my retirement look like? Where have I been? Where have I gone? What have I done? Where did I get to in my career? Okay, so that's the big, you know, lifetime goal out there. So how am I going to get there? Let's focus on the next 5 years. Let's make a vision board for the next 5 or 12 months, whatever it is. What are the 3 things that we need to look at, consider, do when we are starting to put together a vision board?
I would say that the 3 things to consider when creating your vision board is, a vision board, as you probably are aware, is a collection of pictures, words and quotes that resonate with how you want to feel in your life and what you want to attract. So going back to Oprah Winfrey, at the time, she wanted to, when she was new in her career, she knew where she wanted to go. And as you say, you have to raise your vibration up. We are all energy. And if we are concentrating on what we don't want, that's all we will see. So the first thing I would say is, if you've never done a vision board, to really get you to connect with yourself, is do a holistic vision board. So the difference between holistic vision board and a goal targeted vision board is choosing a holistic one is allowing yourself to be drawn to pictures. So this allows you to get out of your head and let your inner voice or your gut or your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, and be drawn to the pictures. Maybe spend half an hour just flicking through some magazines. You don't need, I know a lot of people say they don't have magazines anymore, but you can pick up free ones from the newsagents and Tesco's and Sainsbury's. All the local supermarkets and Boots have their kind of annual one, or even go to the library and they sell them for 50p. So, or even ask friends. You'll be surprised how many you can get. You only need about 10. Set a timer, put it on for 30 minutes, and just pick out pictures that resonate with you. Sometimes you don't really know the reason why. Start kind of positioning them on a board. And when you go to pick a board that know where you're going to put in your house, because it's no good going for a ginormous big A3 board and then think, well, where am I going to put this in my house? So it doesn't have to be big. And then put those pictures on and start actually working out what it means to you. Because when we start to see a connection through pictures, we start to get light bulb moments. So people really underestimate the power of allowing themselves to dream and plan for the next bit of their life. So through life, we often reflect, but we don't change. So holding this space for yourself, or joining a workshop, or come and join one of mine, obviously mine are the best, I am going to say that. And listen to what you really need, rather than think what you need or what society assumes you should have by a certain point. Because going back to, we live large parts of our life on autopilot, and it's often a life event stops us in our track and think, how did I get here? What you want in your 20s will be different to your 30s, 40s, and so on. So first of all, I would say do a holistic board just to get that connection. And then from there, you can start working out and doing a goal specific one. I have some people journal around this, and I have a freebie in my Instagram, which is some like questions like, what does your dream life look like? And what if, it's not putting holding an outcome to it, of how am I going to get there? Just allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to, what would it look like? What would it look like if you wrote that book? What would it look like if you kind of had employees, if you wanted to start your business? How does that make you feel? And you normally start to feel something inside you, that fizz, that excitement. And it might be that isn't something what people want. They might actually want to, turn back their life and in the sense, scale it down. And it might be that actually they want to scale down and live in a smaller house so they could be mortgage free, and might want to live by the sea. So it's tuning in, it's allowing yourself to connect. And I think my first vision board, what it meant to me was, although I had beautiful destinations on there of sunny beaches, I live by the sea. It made me realize I can tune into this every day. I can go and visit the sea. I don't have to go abroad. I can make micro moments of half an hour to go and walk and connect with my surroundings. And coming back to where I was talking about connection before, is Your second home is your physical home where you live. You've got to be happy where you are. If a room is cluttered, it can really reduce our energy. And coming back to Oprah Winfrey talking about energy, we are all energy emotions. So if we feel that our house is cluttered and that it's just not working, it really can lower our vibe. We can feel really disconnected. And our third home, I call, is the world, our surroundings. That's our community. It's the street we live in, and we have this all on our doorstep. And how many times do we go on autopilot and go to the same coffee shop or take the same route to work? Where actually we can discover new little areas in our life and actually light our life up just by doing it differently. So that would be the first thing I would say to people is create that holistic board. Maybe, journal around some of the questions. What does my dream life look like? Or even do the wheel of life, because that's a very easy visual. If you've ever heard of the wheel of life, if you just pop it in Google, you normally can print off a bit like a Trivial Pursuit kind of 8 columns, and it will have things like family, it will have career, it will have fun, and it scores 0 to 10, and you can kind of put where you think you are on there. And then I have given it to my people in my group, where they then can see I've got a image of a bike. And if you think about it, if your career is really, really low because you're not very happy with it, but your family life is really high, you feel very fulfilled, that will start showing a bit in balance. And we have to have a little bit of everything so we can have that little kind of more smoother turning of life. So maybe print one of those off. So really start to journal or see that visual kind of image. And then the second thing I would say when considering creating your vision board is at least keep coming back to it and doing it at least once a year, because through the year things change, and it's sometimes you need to start to become aware of this method. So you're starting to listen to that inner voice. It's like peeling the onion. It's not about always having all the answers at once. It's about becoming more intentional and using your board to set those goals and show up for the person you want to be, because it isn't going to come natural. We have to create new habits, and to create new habits, we need to make room for them. So that would be the second thing. Keep tuning in, because what we want in the summer is naturally different to the winter. In the winter, we might want candles and to hunker down and really, go with the seasons like the trees. And we should use nature and be more with nature and pull back, not be pushing all the time. Have a bit of hibernation, tune in and reflect. And in the summer, throw the doors open and get out and discover and move furniture around so light's kind of coming in the room. So you're fulfilling your life that little bit more intentional, as well as setting goals. What do you need to do to move yourself forward? And then the third thing I would definitely say is put your board somewhere where you're going to see it daily. And I mean, really look at it, because as the things in our house, we start not to notice those things over time, like pictures on the wall, and they just become part of our everyday furniture. So it's sitting every morning, looking at your board, asking yourself, what version of me do I need to be to show up for myself? E.g., if you are stressed and it's kind of, you're not going to notice those opportunities trying to present themselves. So it's kind of being aware, what version of myself do I need to show up today? So you can see, the opportunities. Sometimes what we think it's going to look like often presents itself very differently. And I often use the story of if you are at a wedding and you're really hungry and you want some canapes, you can see the woman walking around, you think, oh, gosh, they're not coming to me, so I'll go to them. So you go rushing, chasing over, and you come back, you haven't got a canopy in your hand, and everyone around you were standing with has a canopy, because they've trusted and believed that the lady will come to them with the canopy. You're trusting it will be there, like your dreams, goals. If you're taking action, you are putting it out, it will come. Where if you're chasing all the time, you're not seeing the bigger picture. And the last thing I would say is with that, though, is putting your board, you're looking at it daily, you're putting your, what version of myself do I need to show up as? What am I grateful for today? Because the one thing you can do is be grateful for where you are now. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened. We only have today. So you get a chance to move, you can kind of move yourself closer to feeling and achieving your dreams by coming from that place of abundance rather than lack. So we have to tune in to being grateful for where we are now as well.
I love that. That's really great. And it's a really good vision of how we sort of go about creating this board and then actually using it and not leaving it. Because I know for me, it's very difficult when I put things up, like literally. Story time, guys, story time. I'm going to confess something now. If you have been around for a while and you have been in my world, maybe you've been to one of my classes about podcasting, I talk about this method that I use that Amy Porterfield taught me about how to create ideas, and it's called the Post-it Party. And the idea is that you're going to set yourself a timer, get all your ideas out, one idea, one Post-it note, stick it on a wall, stick it on a mirror, stick it somewhere. Okay. So I did this and I want to say it was probably like last spring. I'm like pretty sure, and I would have to go back into my messages because I remember talking to my accountability partner about it, so I bet I've got a picture of when I did it. But yesterday we had friends round and those Post-it notes are still stuck on my dining room window. So I've got French doors in my dining room with the glass windows, and I had stuck all these Post-it notes on there, and they have been round twice since I've done it. So the first time they were like, oh, what's that? And I was like, oh, it's some Post-its. I've just a course idea that I was running through, And this is like now maybe 4 months later for them that they're coming round. And I thought, I got to take, and I took them down because I just forget they're there.
Yes.
They just become part of my furniture, these pink sticky notes that are all over this.
Yeah.
Oh, you just don't realize, and you forget about them. And it's the same with a vision board. It just becomes part of the norm.
Yeah.
And so it is something that we have to really sort of take a step, an intentional step, to make sure that we're looking at it and we're doing that, making that effort with it. And I think that what you were saying about making sure that you're sort of who is the person I need to be the person that has these things. And that visual of the canapé thing was literally what Oprah was saying. Like, don't be desperate for it. Don't put it on your vision board and then be desperate for it and be chasing it and like trying to run it down. It's happening. Yeah. And this is the person I have to be for it to come to me, and it comes to me. I don't have to go to it. And I love that. And so I love the way that all sort of fits together.
Yeah. And as you say, those Post-it notes, it's because you don't read them every day, because you say, and you don't have to sit with your board long. It is that visualization. It is that thing, like I was saying about the athletes, it's having that 5 minutes. It could be in your inside of your wardrobe where you open it up, you look at your board and you say, what version do I need to show up today? I need to show up calm and collective. Maybe it might be that I need to feel that I am good enough. That there might be words on it. So on here on my board, I've got a business board and a personal board. It says start small, think big, because anything in business, it's one step at a time. It's how would you eat an elephant? The elephant is big, but it'd still be one bite at a time. And so it reminds you those words, and that's why a vision board with words, pictures, and quotes, it resonates with you. It's those, and just sitting with it for literally 5 minutes while you're picking with your wardrobe that you're going to wear that day, it puts you in the right energy. You are showing up, one thing every single day to move yourself forward. Does it have to be? And sometimes it isn't about pushing. Sometimes it is about sitting back and reflecting and actually just going for that walk, because sometimes that pouring into our cup is when the ideas come to us. If we're constantly trying to fill our mind and we get stressed and overwhelmed and burnt out, one, we're not having joy. Two, we can't see any possibilities because all we see is the stress, overwhelm. So it is about just moving one thing forward. And what do I need today? And what can I be grateful for? And when we come from that place, it is, and that's basically what manifestation is. It's about taking consistent action, trusting the process, believing, have faith in your own abilities, coming from a place of kindness and compassion for yourself. And if you need that extra help, tuning in, hiring someone, or if you want to run a marathon, it might be you need an accountability personal coach, whatever it is, once a week to hold you accountable. It doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. And I think that's what's really important as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I like what you said there about it's consistent action. It's making sure that you're keeping it top of mind and going, what do I need to do today to make that happen? Because it's those 1% increases. And I don't know whether the episode that I did about that has come out. I think it has, actually, by the time this one comes out, where I talked about, the fact that consistency and whatnot is BS. I was just like, I'm calling it out. It is absolute bull. Right. I am not having this like consistency is going to get you everywhere, because it's not, if you haven't got improvements with that concept. You can put out the same sort of post every single day on social media. It doesn't mean you're going to blow up sometime, because if it didn't work on day one, it's not going to work on day two. You've got to consistently be making it better. You've got to consistently be moving forward. It's not just about consistency for consistency's sake. And I think that is where it gets lost in, especially in the business world with people and social media. It's like, you've got to be consistent. It's like, well, no, if you're not improving things, if you're not getting more growth, if you're not seeing the results of those actions, then it's not just consistency. There is something else behind it. And a vision board is something that is going to pull you through to that extra step. Like, it's okay, I need to move forward, not just be consistent. And I love that. Okay. So we've created our vision board, and we are going to be looking at it every single day. And we are going to be spending that 5 minutes just to focus on how we need to show up in our lives to be the people that receive those goods that are on that vision board. And I think that's going to be fantastic. So if you create a vision board from this, guys, let me know and tag us and let us see your boards, share them on social. That would be fantastic. I think it's something that we can do at any time. This isn't something you have to reserve for January the 1st. And you all know that I don't even run my years like that. So it was great that you said that, Vanessa, that we sort of hunker down in winter, because I've been speaking a lot on the podcast about how I've changed my year to start with the seasons. So spring to me is my new year. And that's where I focus my sort of renewed energy and starting afresh, and what can I do this year that makes it different? And then sort of hunkering down in winter. And I've also spoken about how with the females amongst us that have our cycles, that works on a monthly basis as well, not just an annual basis, that we have weeks where we should just be internal and quiet and, doing the least we can get away with. Because I know some of us do have day jobs, or we have commitments in our businesses that we can't just shirk. But then there are days, weeks in the month where we can go hard and we can do so much more than we think we can is even possible for us. So those are some interesting things that also came out of this conversation that is great to sort of bring into that creation of that vision for your life. So Vanessa, you have a freebie for us. I would love it if you would just tell us what that freebie is and where we can go and grab it.
Well, I have the freebie of 5 ways to action your dream life in my Instagram bio on the link tree link there when you click on there. And what it does, it gets you to start thinking really. So it starts you to play around in that what if, that dreamscape, without putting that outcome and the how and the stories you're telling yourself, and reminding you, why do you want it? Because we can all want to lose weight, but unless we actually still eating, if we're eating the donuts, what is the reason why we want it? We have to have the outcome on the end. So it gets you to start playing around, thinking about it. And not, it's okay if you don't always have all the answers. Keep journaling, keep coming, because it will get easier. The more, when I lost my way, I really thought, what do I want? Where do I want to go? Who am I? Who is Vanessa within all the roles I take on? I'm a mum, a business owner, a friend, a mother, a daughter, a sister. So, who is Vanessa? What does Vanessa like? So it's getting to know you. So it's allowing yourself to just keep journaling and see what comes up, really. So yes, you can find it in there. My website, the freebies on there. And I think I might actually have my life wheel on there as well, which is, so my website is www.visionboardsforall.co.uk as well. So,
and where are you on Instagram?
I am also under Vision Boards for All. So you'll see VB standing for vision boards, and it's purple and white, so can't miss my branding.
Brilliant. So I shall have all those links in the show notes for you guys so that you can go and find it nice and easily. I would highly recommend creating a vision board for yourself. I do one every year. I usually have it as my screen lock or my screen on my computer. I have it there as well. And it's just something, again, you have to be intentional with it, because it does become just something that you always see. So if we want to see changes, we have to be intentional about making those changes happen. Okay, so before we go, Vanessa, I have got a quick fire round that I do with all my guests, and I would love it if I could do that with you. Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay,
fine.
So the first one is, what is the book that has made the most impact on your life?
I would say the first book would be Dr. Chatterjee, his 4 stress solutions, because I think with his book, I was really lost, it was so simple, and we make our life so complicated.
Oh gosh, yeah, we
And
do.
those little things that I could do every day, I could change and make a difference straight away. So I would say, if you were that little bit lost, that is a good book to start with. It really had those light bulb moments. So, but then from there, there's been other books, but that's my first one.
Love that. Love that. And what is your go-to favorite snack if you're in a hurry?
Oh, it's got to be crisps.
Really
naughty. Love a big packet of crisps. The small packets just
they're not even like, I don't know what happened. When I was a kid, a packet of crisps was a packet of crisps, and now it's like, well, no, we've got these giant packs, so the small ones are like, it's not even a portion, is it? It's ridiculous.
They don't feel like they cut it anymore, do they?
No. I'm not a big crisp fan, I have to say. I mean, once I pop the Pringles, I can't stop. But and prawn cocktail is my favorite flavor, but I'm more of a sweet chocolate girl. If you sort of put chocolate in front of me and a packet of crisps, I'd go for the chocolate, but I do like crisps. So I like that. Nice, quick, easy. I think definitely of our sort of generation, that crisps as a snack for sure. And what is your ultimate me time thing to do?
I would say definitely something creative, or read a book. I think can really get lost with reading a book, and it doesn't. With a book also, I can just read 10 pages and step away. So, and I've given some me time to myself. So
love that. Just books are a great way of switching off. I mean, I read an awful lot of personal development and business style books, which I feel like is defeating the object there. But when I do read a fiction book, it just like you're so absorbed in what you're reading. It is like, if the writer is really good, the whole world around you just disappears and you're in this book, and it's amazing. And I think that is such a great way to just take 10 minutes. So I love that one. Love that. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for sharing that with us. Thank you for coming on the show. It's been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to share your vision boards with us. All of the links to Vanessa will be in the show notes, and I will see you next week. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.